Welcome to Revenge with Lyra.
Don't step there. You'll wake the maid, someone laughed. The moment I saw her, tangled hair, torn clothes, curled up by the front door, my breath hitched. That wasn't a maid. That was my sister, Lydia. I hadn't seen her in 20 years. 20 years since I'd handed her the keys to this very house and said, "It's yours. For everything Mom never gave you." And now, this? My heels clicked against the marble floor, sharp and echoing. The chatter died instantly. Mom turned around, mid-laugh, a champagne glass in her hand. For a second, her painted smile froze, like porcelain cracking. "Amelia," she breathed. It had been 2 decades since anyone in this house said my name without a sneer. Lydia stirred. Her eyes fluttered open. For a moment, there was confusion. Then recognition. And then shame. She tried to cover her face with her hands, whispering, "Don't look at me." Mom's voice broke the silence. "Oh, honey, you're just in time for brunch. Ignore her. She's unwell." Unwell? That word hung in the air like a knife. Guests stared at me, some whispering, some smiling nervously, sensing the storm brewing. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't have to. I took one calm step forward, heels slicing through the quiet. Everyone froze. Because when I reached into my bag, they saw the golden deed envelope and realized I still owned this house. You could hear the air leave the room. The same guests who'd just been laughing now stared at me like they'd seen a ghost. I placed the golden envelope on the table, slow, deliberate, letting the weight of silence crush every fake smile in that room. Mom's hand trembled as she set down her glass. "Amelia," she said, voice trembling. "What is this?" "It's the original title deed," I said quietly. "The one I signed over to Lydia 20 years ago. You remember that day, don't you?" Lydia was staring at me from the floor, eyes wide and tearful. I thought you gave it to me." "I did," I replied, turning toward her. "But Mom made sure it never reached your name, didn't she?" The guests gasped softly. Mom's jaw clenched, her mask slipping for the first time. "I had to protect her," she snapped. "Your sister can't handle money. She lost everything, Amelia." I tried to help. Help. I stepped closer, my voice like glass. "By making her your servant? By letting her sleep on her own doorstep while you hosted garden parties inside the house she once owned." Her lips parted, but no sound came out. Lydia crawled backward, her body shaking. "Amelia, please don't make a scene," she whispered. I crouched down, meeting her eyes.
"No, Lydia."
"I'm not making a scene. I'm making history." Then I turned to the crowd, calm, poised. "Everyone, the real owner is home." Gasps rippled through the guests like wind through glass. My mother's face went pale, then red, then pale again. Her lips trembled, but her pride wouldn't let her stay silent. "You always loved humiliating this family, didn't you?" she hissed. "You left us. You think money makes you better?" I tilted my head slightly, smiling. "No, Mother. Decency does." She laughed, that sharp, cruel laugh I'd heard since childhood. "Decency? You talk about decency while parading your own sister's misery? You should thank me. At least I didn't throw her out like she deserved." Every word cut through Lydia, who sat trembling on the floor like a scolded child. I turned toward her, my voice soft but firm. "Lydia, look at me." She hesitated, then raised her tear-filled eyes. "Do you remember Dad's promise?" I asked. "The one he made before he died, about this house?" Her lips quivered. "He said, whoever carries the family with love, not greed, will inherit peace." I nodded.
"Exactly."
"Peace, not property. And yet here we are." Mom's voice cracked. "You can't come in here and take over. This is my house." I lifted the golden envelope again.
"No, Mother."
"It's not. You forged Lydia's signature. I have the proof." Gasps filled the room again, this time sharper. Mom's hand flew to her chest, panic flickering in her eyes. And then she whispered the words that sealed her fate. "You weren't supposed to find that." The room went deathly still. Even the chandelier above us seemed to hum in the silence. I straightened my back and took a slow breath. You forged Lydia's name, Mother. 20 years ago, you used her ID, her trust, and you transferred this house back to yourself. Her face drained of color. That's ridiculous, she barked. You have no proof. Oh, I do. I opened the golden envelope, and several official papers slid out, neatly clipped, stamped, notarized. I'd spent months digging through county records, tracing every hidden transfer. Every signature, every fake transaction, traced right back to your account. I turned to the guests. And the timing's poetic, isn't it? Right after my father's funeral. Someone gasped. Mom stumbled a step back, gripping the table edge. Stop this, Amelia, she cried. You don't understand what it's like to keep a family together. I met her eyes.
No, Mom.
You don't understand what it's like to destroy one. Lydia's sobs broke the silence. She crawled toward me, clutching my dress. You knew all this time? I knelt, brushing her hair back gently.
No.
But I suspected. And when I heard what she'd turned you into, I had to see for myself. Mom's voice cracked from behind me. You're ungrateful. Everything I did was for you. I turned slowly, locking eyes with her. Then you'll understand why everything I'm about to do is for me. Her hand trembled as she pointed at me. You can't just come in here and ruin me. Ruin you? I said softly. Mother, you did that yourself. She opened her mouth to reply, but the sound of engines outside cut her off, 3 sleek black cars pulling into the driveway. The guests turned toward the windows in confusion. Lydia whispered, Amelia, who's that? I smiled faintly. People who know what truth looks like. The front door opened. A woman in a navy suit stepped in, followed by 2 men carrying files and cameras. The golden crest on their badges glinted under the chandelier. Department of Financial Crimes. Mrs. Eleanor Brooks, the woman said firmly, her voice echoing. We have a warrant to investigate property fraud and financial manipulation. My mother's knees buckled. What is this? I crossed my arms. Justice, I said simply. And it's right on time. The lead officer turned to me. Miss Amelia Brooks, thank you for your cooperation. We received your evidence last month. You did the right thing. Gasps rippled through the crowd. My mother's eyes went wide. You call them? Your own mother? I stepped closer, my voice calm. No, I called the truth. You just happened to be standing in its way. The officers began reading her rights. Lydia clutched my hand, shaking, whispering, I don't deserve you. I squeezed back gently. Then earn it, Lydia. Start over. My mother's shrill voice cut through the chaos. You think this makes you better than me? You think these people care about family? She cried, twisting against the officer's grip. You're destroying your blood, Amelia. I didn't move. I just watched her, the same woman who used to tell me love means control. Now she was the one being controlled, and it was poetic. The guests had gathered in corners, whispering nervously. Some tried to slip away, others stayed, hungry for the scandal. The very people she used to impress with her Sunday brunches were now recording her arrest on their phones. When the officer asked her to hand over her phone and wallet, she turned to me, trembling, desperate. Amelia, please. Don't let them take me away in front of everyone. You're my daughter. I looked down at her, the woman who once made my sister sleep on a doorstep. Exactly, I said softly. I'm your daughter. That's why I know what you are. Lydia covered her mouth, tears streaming down her cheeks. Mom's shoulders slumped. You'll regret this. No, I replied, voice steady. I regret waiting this long. As the officers let her out, the guests parted like a tide. The sound of her heels on the marble faded down the hall, the same sound she once used to announce her power. Now it marked her downfall, and the house finally felt still. After they took her away, the house fell into a heavy, stunned quiet. The guests scattered quickly, pretending to check phones or gather coats, each one desperate to escape the wreckage of someone else's empire. Only Lydia and I remained, 2 daughters standing in the ruins of our mother's lies. She was still trembling, her voice barely a whisper. You should hate me too. I let her use me. I believed her. I called you selfish when you left. I turned to her, and for the first time in 20 years, I saw not the fragile woman Mom had broken, but the girl who used to share my bed when thunderstorms scared us. Lydia, I said softly, I never hated you. I hated what she turned you into. Her lips quivered. Then why help me now? Because I promised Dad I'd protect what's left of us. I walked toward the window, sunlight spilling across the golden drapes, the same sunlight that had once felt cold in this house. He told me once, a home without love isn't a home, it's just a cage. Today, I opened the door. Lydia's sobs turned into laughter, quiet, broken, but real. Outside, a black van pulled away from the gate. The neighbors peered through their windows like vultures, but I didn't care. This house wasn't my mother's anymore. It wasn't even mine. It was finally free. And so were we. That night, the house felt different. The same walls that once echoed with insults now carried the sound of peace, the quiet clinking of cups, the faint hum of the evening breeze. Lydia and I sat by the old fireplace, wrapped in silence that didn't hurt anymore. She looked fragile under the warm glow, but her eyes, once hollow, now held a spark. What happens now? She asked softly. I smiled faintly. Now we rebuild. Not for her. For us. We spent the next week cleaning every corner, every shadow where her voice had lingered. We opened the curtains she'd kept closed for years. The sunlight touched the walls like forgiveness. The news spread fast. Local socialite arrested for fraud, elder daughter exposes 20-year scam. Mom's name was everywhere, but for the first time, it wasn't followed by praise. A week later, Lydia found me standing on the porch, gazing at the garden. You're really leaving again, aren't you? I nodded. I'm not running this time. I'm starting. She hugged me tight, the way sisters do when words aren't enough. As I drove away, I glanced in the rearview mirror. Lydia stood in the doorway, waving, the sunlight framing her like a promise kept. I whispered, Dad, she's safe now. The road ahead shimmered with gold. Sometimes, justice isn't loud. It's calm. It's quiet. It's peace. And that day, peace had my name on it.